Hey everybody, Clay Archer, CEO, DBC Technology. I'm super excited about today's video. Today we're going to cover the new UNVR Instant and why for most of you, this is the UNVR that you want. As you may know, DBC Technology is a managed service provider and we do IT for small businesses. And a lot of our businesses come to us and say, hey Clay, I'd like to have a security camera system at my office. What do you recommend? And obviously, if you've watched my videos for years, I've recommended Protect. But there is a small problem. There isn't a really great inexpensive solution for a really small office, or honestly, for the home if you just want a standalone NVR. And this new UNVR Instant fixes that issue. So what is this UNVR Instant? Well, it's going to come in two flavors. It's going to come in the UNVR Instant by itself for $199, which is just the UNVR with no drive, or it's going to come in a kit with the UNVR, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and 4 G5 Turret Ultras for $699, which both of these are incredible values. So let's cover the unit itself first. It is a standalone NVR like the NVRs have been in the past. But what makes it different is it has built-in switching on board. So it's got a 1 gig uplink and 6 PoE ports built right into the NVR. In addition, it's got a viewport built right into the device as well. This has been a huge ask from me in our commercial installs where people want to have a screen that just displays the NVR all the time. So having that built-in viewport is a huge plus. So you just have HDMI out to a monitor and you're going to be able to see everything that is on the device. I will leave a link down in the description to a video I've done on the viewports. They're really awesome devices. This is a fully functional viewport built into this device, and you get all the same features that you would on the standalone viewport, which is amazing. The NVR also has a little LCD screen on the front of it, similar to the UCG Fiber, a really nice little LCD status screen so you can see basic information about what's going on with the device. It's really nice if you're back in the server closet and you just want to see the status of the device itself. For storage, the device uses one 3.5-inch drive bay, so you can put a massive drive in here if you want to. So basically any SATA hard drive will work in here, so you can go super big. If you want to go 20 plus terabytes in here, you certainly could do this. You can also use an SSD if that's what you choose to do. So unlike the other NVRs, there aren't multiple hard drives here. So if you do lose this hard drive, you are going to lose your data, unless you have it backed up, obviously. Although hard drive failures do happen, they're not very common. And so the odds of it happening the day that you need to go back and get the footage from the previous days are probably small. Obviously, if you have a high security environment, I wouldn't recommend this be the NVR of choice. But for most people, if you're just monitoring your backyard or your front door, or in my case, you know, the back parking lot or the front parking lot, or, you know, a corridor, it's probably not that critical that you have the data. So if you do have a hard drive failure, the odds of it happening at the same time that something's going to happen are really low, and people will accept that risk. Again, if you had to go to that data and it is mission critical, I would choose one of the other UNVRs over the UNVR Instant. But that being said, you will be able to store a ton of data on these devices. So let's go over camera capacity. It does have the built-in 6-port PoE switch, but it also has the capacity to go to up to 15 HD cameras, 8 2K cameras, or 6 4K cameras. So you can kind of mix and match that. So for us in these small business installs, we're typically using maybe 4 to 8 cameras. So this is the exact right range for us for most of our installs. So that's a perfect segue into the kit. This is going to come in a $699 kit, which is going to include the UNVR Instant, 4 G5 Turret Ultras, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. And in my personal opinion, that's the perfect entry setup for most of our installs, and probably most installs in a home as well. I'll put a link down below to my link of the G5 Turret Ultra, but I think it is a phenomenal little camera. It's the perfect combination of quality and cost. I think the value on it is super high. And when you buy it in this kit, if you were to add up UNVR Instant for $199, 4 of those G5 Turret Ultras for $129 each is $516, and the 1 terabyte hard drive is $48. It's $763. So you're basically saving $65 to get this all in a kit. Also, it's got everything in that kit that you need just to set up and go. All you got to do is run the lines to the different cameras and you are set up, and plug it in and Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. I think that is an incredible value. I also, just for giggles, I went ahead and compared that to what we're doing today. Today, what we're doing for these small Protect installs that don't have a Protect already on their routing device is a CloudKey Gen 2 Plus, which is $199 if you go with a spinning disk, and $249 if you go with an SSD. Then a viewport for $199. Then the 4 G5 Turret Ultras for 516 plus a Lite 8 PoE for the switching off board at $109. That's $1,023 for basically the same thing we're getting here. You will get 2 additional PoE ports on the Lite 8 PoE, but by the time you link the cloud key to the switch, you're losing a port. So basically you're getting 1 additional PoE port for 325-ish more dollars. It really doesn't make that much sense. And now you have all those separate devices instead of having it all in one cluster. And I think for most looking to get into the Protect ecosystem, it's a no-brainer, especially at that price. It's also starting to be a really compelling value against the less expensive off brands that you'll find at Costco or on Amazon or whatever that don't have all the incredible usability and software advances that you're going to get with Protect. Another nice thing they've done here is they've gone for a really efficient use of power here. This device isn't going to be a big power hog. They've gone with the newer A55 quad-core ARM chip as opposed to the A57 that they've used in the older NVRs. Now, it doesn't have the same horsepower as the A57 does, but it's a much more efficient chipset, and you're seeing that with its power usage. Now, they've given up that huge capacity out of this thing, but obviously with OneDrive, you weren't going to go to these bigger systems anyways. And with the integrated PoE switch and viewport, they are getting a lot out of this little device. And I'm really impressed with the efficiency and compactness they've been able to get out of this unit. So kudos to the engineers for coming up with that. But that being said, with this kit, you're not just limited to the device and what's on board on the device. If you wanted to add a PoE switch to add more cameras, you certainly could. I also, when I look at this kit, I think of G6 Instant, where I can have some wireless cameras around as well. And that flexibility would be awesome in a small business or a residential setup. That would require some off-board Wi-Fi to have that available, but I can certainly see somebody building it up that way. The biggest feature of all for me is that in this small, inexpensive setup, you're getting the same software that you're going to get in an enterprise level ENVR. You're going to be able to use AI keys. You're going to be able to use third-party cameras. You're going to get Alarm Manager. You're going to get all of the detections and smart detections and AI features, all of the incredible software features that have been built into Protect, you're going to get in this unit. And you are in that ecosystem now where development is just going to continue. So every time there's an update, you're going to be able to get this on this device, as opposed to going to Costco and buying an inexpensive, Chinese brand where you're not going to get that same development. You're not going to get that same ease of use. This really is a compelling piece of hardware. And as a kit, it's even more compelling as a value proposition for $199 to have an NVR that basically does all the same features as an ENVR, minus the fault tolerance and the, scalability, but all the same features built into a $199 unit is really an incredible value. And kudos to the Unifi team for bringing this to a value level that is attainable to everybody. I did get my kit this weekend. It was too quick for me to do a turnaround. I had an event on Saturday and the Jaguar football game on Sunday. Duval. But I will do a complete review where I'll put it through its paces and I'll test it with a bunch of different cameras and a bunch of different scenarios. Look out for that video soon. But for now, I am super excited about this new product. If you do see it available, I would buy it quickly. I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very hot item and that they are going to have trouble keeping it in stock. As always, I would appreciate it if you hit the affiliate link down below. If you are going to make a purchase, it does help us create these videos. Also, let me know anything you want me to do in the full review, as well as any questions you have about it in the comments down below. As always, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.